can recognize taps from those first three notes. The familiar bugle call was composed 150 years ago this month.
On this 4th of July, Mark Strassman looks at how taps began and what it means for Americans. When America buried JFK in 1963, most of the world heard for the first time a haunting melody, taps. The 24 notes seemed to stir something in everyone. At Arlington National Cemetery, on average, taps is heard 30 times a day. Jari Villanueva, a retired Air Force bugler, played here for 23 years.
Taps at Arlington National Cemetery is the highest honor that a military musician can have. I've always considered it to be like the military musician's equivalent of playing Carnegie Hall.
Jack Lechner coordinates all the funerals at Arlington National Cemetery.
When taps is played, everybody from the military stands a little taller, and it's that one thing that unites us all. I mean, it's that one song other than the national anthem that brings us all together.
Taps was born during the Civil War at Berkeley Plantation at Harrison's Landing, Virginia. And you might be surprised to learn that originally the tune was never meant for funerals. 100,000 battle-weary Union troops were camped here along the James River, and their commander wanted a new way to end their day.
General Butterfield actually adapted taps from an older bugle call.
Union Brigadier General Daniel Butterfield wanted a new call to end the day for his troops. Brigade bugler Oliver Wilcox Norton helped him compose one. Lyrics followed that began, "Day is done, gone the sun, from the hills, from the sky." Taps became the official final call for all U.S. military funerals in 1891. 24 notes, all matter. First three and last three matter the most.
The first three and last three provide perfect bookends to this piece of music, almost like a metaphor of life. So you have a birth, a high point in your life, and then it recedes into the twilight.
Villanueva estimates he played taps at Arlington during more than 3,000 funerals.
Even though we've played the call so many times, that call is going to be special to that family, and so that's why we want to make sure that the call is just so perfect.
Bugler Keith Clark played at JFK's funeral. And it wasn't perfect.
The call itself wasn't perfect, no. He missed a note going up.
Clark and the sixth note he played cracked under the pressure.
The call, because of that performance, spread throughout the world. Everybody knows now from that time on that taps was the song of farewell to our nation's heroes, to our nation's fallen.
For CBS This Morning, Mark Strassman at Arlington National Cemetery.
It's a great piece, and it is so powerful, especially when you're there at a funeral and you hear it and you know how much it meant to the person who's being laid to rest.
Yeah.
To have that played.
Chills every time.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful thing. It is 7:41. Here's a look at your local weather.
On this Independence Day, we end the broadcast with a story of a man who has made it his mission to give America's fallen soldiers one final salute. Here's Mark Strassman. There are 24 notes in taps, America's best-known bugle call. Jari Villanueva played each one perfectly at Arlington National Cemetery, where on average, taps is heard 30 times a day. The retired Air Force bugler is generally considered the nation's leading authority on taps. In 23 years here, Villanueva estimates he sounded the final call at more than 3,000 funerals.
The very opening, it's easily recognized. You know what's coming next.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Like the Star-Spangled Banner, taps was born in war in July of 1862. Union Brigadier General Daniel Butterfield adapted it from a French tune as a new way to signal the end of the day for battle-weary troops. Since 1891, taps has officially been part of all U.S. military funerals and marked the passing of Army privates and U.S. presidents.
the times that I've sounded taps, the most meaningful and the most poignant for me have been those for active duty services. It creates a bit of pressure on the bugler to make sure that it's perfect. It's something that's quite emotional when you're playing for someone who's lost their life in service to our country. For me, I'm always thinking about a specific Bible verse, Corinthians, for we shall all be changed in a moment at the sound of the last trumpet. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall rise incorruptible.
$260,000 U.S. military veterans lie at rest here in Arlington. Villanueva considered sounding the call for each new arrival his sacred duty. Mark Strassman, CBS News at Arlington National Cemetery.
That is the CBS Evening News on this 4th of July. For Scott Pelley, I'm Jeff Glore.